Hey guys, welcome to day number 114 of At Home Fitness with Coach A. I am Coach A, and here is what we have today. Our third retest of the last couple weeks. We will be doing the weighted or the heavy mile. So as it says, a sled push, sled pull, or a carry. I know that talking to you guys, many of us have done a single arm farmer's carry in a suitcase position, if you will. Alternating as needed. The last couple times we've done this, let's stick with that, all right? We want this to be an actual retest. Now, here are the coaching caveats with that. If it has gotten too easy for you, specifically from the first time to the second time, not necessarily from a time component or a performance component, but from a fatigue component. If you're able to really push through that mile without a ton of fatigue, then I want you guys to try and make the weight heavier if that is possible, or feel free to use two hands as opposed to a single hand carry if that is possible. Right? Keep in mind the goal is still the same, which is to beat what you had before on the time, just with the increased variables or the increased capacity or weight there, the carry load. Now, the sled push, right? I would recommend probably not doing this on most streets. Obviously, it's tough to see things coming in that regard. And I would also probably tend to keep that weight a little bit lighter, right? So we're talking about a prowler, we're talking about a dog sled, something like that. That position you're going to be in, having to drive through it, is going to take much more out of you. It's going to require a lot more energy, and therefore it is going to get a lot rougher. The sled pull, on the other hand, tends to be a smaller piece that's going to have less surface contact, and you're going to have much better power and leverage on that. If I were to do this with a sled pull, I would probably use something in the neighborhood of 90 to 135 pounds added to the sled. So that's either two 45s on top of the sled to three 45s on top of the sled. Keeping in mind that when I say that, I have done this before, technically a bunch of times since about 2012. So I understand what that's going to feel like. I understand how to stay in the moment, and it's something I've built some resilience to. If this is going to be the first time you guys have done this, maybe start a little bit lighter, but start with something that takes a little bit of work each step. It's not just sliding behind you as if though you're dragging a grocery bag or something along those lines. And then the third one is going to be the carry. Now, I don't care how you guys do the carry. It can be a one-arm carry, be a two-arm carry with weight in each hand. They can be the same weight, they can be different weights, in which case you're going to switch back and forth as you need to. It can be a front rack carry, you can alternate, same thing, one arm, two arm. I definitely would not do an overhead carry for a mile. That brings other things into the equation, plus the increased amount of fatigue on that is going to cause you to have to change a lot as opposed to just switching back and forth, maybe like every 100 meters or something like that. And that's going to definitely change what's coming out of this. So the weight is going to depend on obviously your grip strength, shoulder strength, core strength, right? So let's pick something that we can hold on to for 200 meters if we really needed to. Now this is a 1600 meter workout, so by that math you're going to do 800 each side, therefore you're going to do 2 rounds or 4 rounds of the 200 each side. Now that's not going to come out that way, you're not going to be able to hold on for 200 probably, but that's how I want you to establish a weight for this if you guys have not done this yet. There's going to be an optional conditioning core piece in here as well at the end that I will speak to in a second. But another convenient, interesting option if you guys want to modify this a little bit might be, it's nice outside today. It's like 90 degrees here in Cleveland, beautiful sun. We could always maybe head down to the beach, pop the top, put a little sunscreen on, and I wouldn't do the sled push on the beach, obviously. That's the whole mess you don't want to get into. But the sled pull or the carries in our bare feet can be done in sand, which provides an extra interesting component to it. Maybe even going a little bit lighter in that regard than what you normally would on a hard surface, but also keeping in mind that when we're done, we need to do especially a lot of work on the feet, ankles, and calves. right? So a lot of calf smashing, a lot of underfoot rolling, smashing, getting the toes, stretching them out, stretching the ankles, stretching the calves out a lot. Right? That's going to provide a lot of stress that you guys aren't necessarily used to. So you want to make sure you're able to recover from that so that we're able to repair and get stronger. Stick around if you guys want to see the additional core and conditioning piece at the end. Alright guys, so the extra core and conditioning piece today is going to be a 12 minutes alternating EMOM. We have 3 movements, therefore 4 rounds each movement. Each one is going to have a work-rest component of working for 40 seconds, resting for 20 seconds. And in those 2 pieces, you guys can work through and score them and get competitive with the rounds if that's what you want to do. If you find that you are going to be competitive with the rounds, I would possibly toss a little extra rest in there at the end so that you can get some recovery coming back in each piece, unless you don't need that recovery. First minute is going to be double unders with jump rope, or whatever modification you guys are used to doing. Jumping jacks, single unders with a jump rope, lateral hops, maybe a quick foot touch, put the ball in front of the feet, tap it with the toes, something along those lines. In which case, 4 rounds of 40 seconds of work, we're just going to count our reps, count our completed movements, and compare them over the 4 rounds. Second movement is going to be a Russian twist, feet up off the ground, ball rotating in this case, 20 RX for the guys, 14 for the ladies, side to side. If we have something that is large enough, like a ball or a plate, tap the floor. If we do not, we don't really want to overextend and get our lower opposite side back in a bad position, just tap the ground. In that case, I want you guys to focus on just getting to the side of those hip bones, and we have essentially completed the Russian twist rep. Again, if you guys want to score and get competitive with it, we're just looking at reps completed in the 40 seconds. The final movement is going to be a Superman hold. So, laying on our stomachs. Right? We're going to create a little bit of tension in the abdomen just so we have a base, but the goal from here is to create total posterior extension and flexion, right? So I'm squeezing the butt, I'm tensing up the extensors in my spine a little bit, engaging the posterior side of my shoulders to reach the hands out in front, and then at the bottom half it goes butt, hamstrings, and pointing the toes. Remember, while we are pulling the shoulders and knees up off the ground, the goal here is not necessarily for me to curl into a reverse ball as much as possible. It's to create that tension, maintain that tension, and sort of similar to a hollow or hollow rock position, try and be long, not necessarily bunched up and wound up. And again, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So in this case, the goal is more, can I sustain this for 40 seconds? And if I cannot, what is the most time out of the 40 seconds that I can accumulate each round? Right, it's a 12-minute alternating EMOM, 40 work, 20 rest, double unders, Russian twist, and Superman hold. See you guys tomorrow for day number 115.